So first we're going to use the generic vertex form y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. They're going to give us the vertex and they're going to give us a point. The point will be the x and the y. The vertex will be the h and the k. We have to plug it all in and figure out what a is. And we're going to start with this second example just because it's a little bit simpler. So it says, write an equation of the parabola that passes through the point -1, 2, and has a vertex of 4, -9. All right, so I'm going to write up my vertex form. Vertex form is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. All right, the point is going to go in place of the x and the y. The vertex is going to go in the place of the h and the k. So that's where everything is going to go. But I personally don't like to put everything in there in the first step. Some of you are going to be fine with that. My first step is always going to be to get the vertex in there. So our vertex is the point 4, -9. Y equals a times x minus 4 squared minus 9. So I put that vertex of 4, that ends up being -4 inside the parentheses. Remember, inside the parentheses is backwards crazy town. The -9, we put that as -9 after the parentheses. You're going to want to save this. I'm just going to kind of lightly outline it because we are going to come back to this to form our final answer. Next, I'm going to plug in the point. What was that point? -1, 2. So in place of the y, I'm going to put the 2. In place of the x, I'm going to put the -1. And the rest of the equation we keep. Okay, and I tried to put that right below the previous line, so hopefully you can see exactly where things went in. So if necessary, do I need to highlight? The -1 goes in place of the x. The 2 goes in place of the y. Okay, now the only thing that we don't know is a. So we can do some math and we can solve and we can figure out what a is. So inside the parentheses, what is -1 minus 4? -5. A times -5 squared minus 9. What is -5 squared? 25. So this is a times 25, which is 25a minus 9. Is that an equation that we know how to solve? Yeah, we add 9 to both sides. So we have 11 equals 25a. Divide both sides by 25. And unfortunately, your a value is usually going to be a decimal. And that is fine. That doesn't mean you did anything wrong. Waiting for my calculator to come up. So 11 divided by 25 is 0.44. So A is 0.44. Now, this problem doesn't say find A. This problem says write an equation of the parabola. So now we're going to go back to this thing that I squiggle boxed. We now know what A is. We're going to stick that value in place of A. So our final answer is y equals 0.44 times x minus 4 squared minus 9. And that's why I don't put everything in the equation all in one step, because it makes your last step a lot more difficult. So first step, plug the vertex in. Get that set, save that for later. Second step, plug the point in, solve for A. Then go back to that first step and just stick the A into what you had from that first step. Okay, so that is what we are going to try to do in this word problem. They're trying to make it look harder than it is by making it a word problem. The graph shows the parabolic path of a performer who is shot out of a cannon, where y is the height in feet and x is the horizontal distance traveled in feet. Write an equation of the parabola. So our first step is this. Write an equation of the parabola. That is exactly what we did in that second example. So we need to know that the vertex is right here. This is our vertex. And this other thing is going to be our point. All right, so step one, I'm going to use my vertex. The vertex is 50, 35. Let's get that into our formula. Y equals A times x minus 50 squared plus 35. And I'm going to, I guess I'll use orange, or I don't know what color to use. We are going to save this for later because we're going to rewrite this but replace that A with whatever we figure out A is going to be. Step two, what was the point that they showed us on that graph? 0, 15. That's your x and your y, so let's plug that in. Y is 15, x is 0. We just got to do a little bit of math and solve for A. Okay, I like to do a couple of steps at once. 0 minus 50, so I'm looking right in here. 0 minus 50 is negative 50. What's negative 50 squared? Positive 2,500. So 15 equals 2,500 times A plus 35. So I just did this whole thing. I did 0 minus 50 and then squared. And if you want to, on your calculator, just type in parentheses, 0 minus 50, close your parentheses, squared. Let the calculator do all of it for you. That's totally fine. Then I subtract 35 on both sides. And you know what? Sometimes I don't trust my mental math. So 15 minus 35 is negative 20. Divide by 2,500. Negative 0.008. Okay, so part one of this problem is write the equation of the parabola. Y equals negative 0.008. Am I going to run out of room here? Yeah, I am. Times x minus 50 squared plus 35. The next part of the problem is asking us to use this equation. The performer lands in a net 90 feet from the cannon. What is the height of the net? So they're saying right here, this guy is landing in a net that is 90 feet away from where he was shot out of the cannon. What is the height of that net? They just want us to plug in 90. So plug in 90. I'm going to grab my calculator and make my calculator do that for me. Negative 0.008 times 90 minus 50 in parentheses squared plus 35, 22.2. And if you look at this picture, does it make sense that that height is 22.2? Yeah, that looks about right according to that graph. So you can use the graph to kind of check yourself. Did you actually get that right?